Okay, geometry, we're looking at review content from chapter 1, you know, the big stuff, the stuff that keeps coming back, the recycled questions. So let's take a look at this. It says find the measure of the complement of angle M, where angle M, oh my gosh, so many words and stuff. I need pictures. So we got an angle M, and it's 31 degrees, 31.1 degrees, in fact. Now, when they're talking about this word complement, they're talking about another angle that gets added onto that and creates a right angle. So that means it's going to create 90 degrees. So we'll call this question mark for now. And if I look at these three angles, that means that together they're going to make a little equation. So I'll have 31.1 plus that question mark. It's going to equal 90 degrees. Okay, so I guess I just subtract 31.1 and let's see what I would get. Okay, well I can't subtract that decimal there. There we go. So this is going to give me 58. Is that right? Yeah, 58.9. Hey, would you check that out? A. That would be the answer. All right, now I just want to point something out. It was key to know that complement meant that it was going to make a corner that was 90 degrees. Because next we have another word that says supplement, which is a little bit different. That's going to be 180 degrees sum total from two different angles there. All right, so let's see what's going to happen in the next one, because this is definitely different when we go on to this next one. It says find the measure of the supplement of angle R. Okay, so we got angle R. We don't know how much it is at all, honestly. Even if you were trying to calculate, you couldn't really tell. But it says that it's 8z plus 10. And then this other piece over here would make these two angles add up to 180 degrees. So we got this question mark plus the 8z plus 10 equals 180. So let's kind of set that up. Question mark plus 8z plus 10 equals 180. Now if I'm to kind of work this back to just figure out what the question mark is, that means I got to subtract 10. Let's start by that. Then I got the question mark plus 8z equals 170. Then I guess I got to subtract this 8z because I'm trying to solve for that question mark. That would give me question mark equals 170 minus 8z. So there we go. That sounds about right. And it looks like A would be the answer. Now I will say that if you were to choose D, which would be probably the most likely wrong answer, it looks like you were doing 90 instead of 180. So you were thinking complement instead of supplement. However, if you were to choose B, I think your algebra is just wrong, because I'm looking at B and all that you would have done to get that is add 10 and subtract 8z by accident. So maybe your algebra was a little bit off if you got B. Either way, the answer was A, and the first answer was A. Okay, now let's get all crazy up in that. I'm going to scroll down here just because I need a little, no, we can finish it here. Let's do 8. It says an angle measures 2 degrees more than 3 times its complement. Find the measure of its complement. Oh my gosh. An angle. Okay, well, let's call that angle X. Okay, now it's saying that X is 2 degrees more. So I'm going to add 2 to that, but 3 times the complement. Ooh. How do we do that? Oh, let's call it X and Y. And X plus Y equals 90 degrees. We'll call it that way, because then Y is the complement of X, because together they're going to make 90 degrees. But X is 3 times the complement and then 2 more than that. So it's going to be 3 times the complement and then 2 more. Okay, so I guess we could like make a substitution here. That's kind of interesting. I could take this thing plug it in here for this x because it's like x equals this, and x is right there, so then I can substitute. That would give me 3y plus 2 plus y equals 90. Because here's what I did, for those of you that aren't catching it. This piece here is equal to x. And x plus y, let's do a different highlighting color for that one. How about yellow? Equals 90. So there's the original y, but I replaced this y, or this x, with 3y plus 2. So all those greens are the same thing. But why would I even do that? Why do I care? Because now I have one variable that I can combine like terms with, whereas before I couldn't do that. But now I can. So let's go ahead and combine like terms. That would give me 4y plus 2 equals 90. Okay, let's continue solving this right here. If I were to subtract 2 from each side, I would get 4y equals 88. Then if we divide by 4, and that gives me y equals 22. Yeah, 22. So y equals 22. Wait a second. Is it 22 or is it 68? Which one is it? Okay, it says an angle x measures 2 degrees more than 3 times its complement. So y is the complement and x is the angle. And it's asking me to find the measure of its complement. Okay, so then we want y, which is 22, which is right here. I feel like I had to check that like 3 times. But now I got it. That's cool. So let's go to the next one. I'm going to erase this, so pause the video if you need it. There it goes. Now we scroll down. Looks like we only got a few more here. Number 9, it says find CD and EF, then determine if CD is congruent. Okay, these are line segments. And for line segments to be congruent, for one line segment to be congruent to the other, you got to check the distance. He's checking the distance. All right, here we go. So let's see what distance is. Well, distance to me is really Pythagorean theorem. So when I look at this, I see a triangle with each of these lines. And that's how I'm going to check their distance. I see that this top to bottom is really 2 to 4. That's a distance of 2. The other one is 3. The other one has a distance of 2 and a distance of 3. Well, to find the diagonal side here, then I would do Pythagorean theorem, which is 2 squared plus 3 squared equals, let's call it CD squared. Well, that's 4 plus 9 equals CD squared, or 13 equals CD squared. So then if I square root both sides, I would get square root of 13 equals CD. All right, so that kind of checks out. And that's actually true for A and C. So I'm going to go ahead and cross out B and D. And it looks like in B and D with this square root of 5, they just did 2 plus 3. So you got to be careful. You can't just not square something for Pythagorean theorem. Let's check the other one. It's actually pretty much the same idea. We got 3 squared plus 2 squared equals FE squared. And that's 9 plus 4 equals FE squared, which is 13 equals FE squared. So square root of 13 equals FE. All right. So they're the same. They are congruent, which means A would be my answer there. Okay, let's take a look at the next one, and it looks like we're going to have to do some approximation, but I think we can do that. All right, so here we go, scrolling down. All right, it says use the distance formula and the Pythagorean theorem. It says and. I really think it should say or, because you could do whichever one you want. To find the distance from 4, -2 to 2, -2, 3. So let's draw ourselves a little picture here. See what we can determine. So -2, 3 would be like here at 3, -2. And then 4, -2 is going to be like here. That's at -2, and that's at 4. So we have this diagonal line, and it's asking us to find the distance. Okay, so if I wanted to find that distance, I could probably rule a couple things out. First of all, it's not 0, and it's not even 1 unit. It's got to be either 3.4 or 7.8 units. Let's see what we get. I'm going to do this triangle thing again. And I notice that top to bottom here, I'm going 3 on the positive, 2 on the negative, so that's got to be 5. And then horizontally, I'm going 2 on the negative, 4 on the positive, so that's actually 6. So again, the whole Pythagorean theorem right triangle trick, we would have 5 squared plus 6 squared equals, what are these letters? This is U and T. Okay, so UT squared. So this is going to be 25 plus 36 equals UT squared. 25 and 36, if I were to put those together, would make 61. So 61 equals UT squared, or square root of 61 equals UT. Now let's think about approximating this. So 3.4 units, 3 squared is 9. 4 squared is 16, so that's like around 12. While up here, 8 squared is 64, and 7.8 is pretty close to 64, and 64 is pretty close to 61, so I'm pretty sure it's D. No, I'm positive. It's D. It is D. All right, here we go. Oh, man. This is crazy. Let's see if we can figure it out. It says the supplement of an angle is 26 more than 5 times its complement. Find the measure of the angle. Okay, so let's start with an angle. There's our angle X. And we're going to call the complement Y. And we'll call the supplement Z. So the supplement of an angle is 26 more than 5 times its complement. So the supplement Z is, or is equal to, 26 more than, so we got to add 26 to 5 times the complement. So 5y plus 26 equals Z. And we know that x plus y equals 90. We also know that x plus z equals 180. Hey, look at this. I can make a substitution at least once here. This is a really complex problem, but let's see. I got a z, which is this expression, and that's also right here. So let's start with that. Let's do x plus 5y plus 26 equals 180. Okay, now I think that that's helpful, but we actually got to take this one step further. I got to get one of these x's or y's out of there, so I got to make a substitution. Well, I noticed that in this one, if I were to subtract y to both sides, I would get x equals 90 minus y. Okay, so if x equals 90 minus y, how does that help me? Well, x is 90 minus y. So I can substitute that out. I would have 90 minus y plus 5y plus 26 equals 180. Oh my gosh, that is so complex. Well, let's start simplifying it then. Negative y and 5y is 4y. 26 and 90 is, I don't know, how much is that? That's 116. So I'm going to subtract 116 from both sides here, and I would get 4y equals, this would be 64, it looks like. So then I would get that to come out to be y equals 16? 16. Wait, what was y? Y is the complement. That's the complement. So y equals 16. Let me erase this. I don't even know what I'm writing. Y equals 16. So then the angle, if we know that the x plus y is 90, because that's how it works, it's the complement, then that means x plus 16 is 90. So that means this angle x must be 74. My goodness, that was a crazy hard problem. Crazy hard. We're talking like level 7 out of 5. Yeah, that's what I said. 7 out of 5, because that means it's like harder than it should be. Okay, I don't expect it to be this hard quite on your test, but it's still good preparation to practice that whole substitution and setting up equations and all that kind of stuff. So good luck studying for the test, and we will see you later.